All right, welcome everybody. Today I am super excited to bring you a brand new video. We are going to do something a little bit different today. This is by some members' request and some ideas I've been kicking around for a little bit. So I just finished reading up on the Death Watch Omnibus, and it was actually pretty awesome. Really rather enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. Um, I obviously am a super big into the tactics and the ability to actually play the game and how to get better at the game of Warhammer 40,000. I really love all the tabletop, all the strategy. But the thing that actually brought me back into Warhammer, because I took like a huge hiatus. I played Kid Hammer when I was young, and then I left for I guess more adolescent pursuits. And then as I entered my 30s, I came back to the game of Warhammer. But the thing that brought me back into Warhammer wasn't the models at all. It wasn't the game at all, actually. In fact, it was actually just the lore. And some of the people that got me into it were some of the YouTubers who we're actually going to talk about today. So what we're going to do is we're going to be breaking down the top YouTubers, lore masters on for Warhammer 40,000. And I'm going to be ranking them, and I got a couple different bits of criteria for how we're going to be ranking them. And there's a couple of things that we're going to be talking about. So when I'm going to be putting these guys in different categories, just know that I actually really like basically all of these guys. There's maybe one channel in here that I'm including that I'm not the biggest fan of, and it has nothing to do with the channel's content. It just has it's just a personal preference thing. But when I go through it, I absolutely still respect what they do. So I like all of these guys. So I'm going to be ranking these on a couple different things. Number one, I'm going to be ranking on the depth, on the deep knowledge and expertise that these lore masters are bringing to the world of Warhammer 40,000. I'll be talking about their video and their audio production because you know what, that stuff honestly is important. And the more content that I'm putting out there, and the more I'm getting used to being in this world, the more I'm realizing, holy crap, video production value matters. Then we're going to talk about the engaging and the varied amount of content that these guys are going to be bringing out. This is another one of the criteria that I'm going to be basing these rankings on. Because if you just do one thing, that's cool, but you better be really, really good at just one thing. So we'll talk about some of the how varied they are. We'll talk about their consistency and how regularly they're uploading. Because if it's a dead channel, doesn't matter if their stuff was amazing. Well, I guess it does matter if their stuff was amazing years ago. If they just decided to call it quits, you can always still go back and enjoy that content. But most of the guys on here are actually very consistent, and they have really regular uploads. And we're going to talk about the community interaction and the engagement, because in all reality, if you're not engaged with your community, you're not taking feedback, you're probably just not going to have the same quality of channel as some other people. So without further ado, I think we probably just pop on into it. Oh man, we have Will Walker coming in hot, and he wants to tell me that David Attenborough is S tier or we riot. Okay, well, David Attenborough, yeah, I think that was the if I'm not mistaken, that's the AI Scholar's Lore. And if you think if that is Scholar's Lore, then don't worry, we will be talking about Scholar's Lore, because Scholar's Lore is shocker on this list, because I like Scholar's Lore. All right, so let's just start with the first guy, with the first chap who's going to be popping up. The very first chap is someone who's near and dear to my heart, because realistically, this guy got me back into Warhammer 40,000. And he did it through videos that were not about Warhammer 40,000, which is pretty hilarious. So maybe during the lockdowns, I was just kind of messing around, and I saw a video called Australian Explains the Fantasy End Times. And I listened to this video, and I laughed my ass off. I cannot tell you how freaking hard I laughed. As a matter of fact, my wife told me I had to put my headphones on because she could not stand the way this guy was speaking, and she didn't want to hear the chipmunks coming off my phone. But I got to be honest with you, I'm talking about Major Kill number on my very first guy, and there's a reason for that, because Major Kill, he might not play the game. He might. Well, I think he probably plays a little, but he might not be like a super tactical guy. But I got to be honest with you, I thank Major Kill for his content, because he's the entire reason I got back into 40K, which is pretty darn cool if you ask me. I laugh every single time I listen to one of his videos. He's freaking amazing, and I gotta say it's pretty hilarious. So where are we putting Major Kill? Well, let's think about the criteria that we're running through here. Some of the criteria is, number one of the things that we were asking about is deep knowledge and expertise. I gotta be honest with it. This guy has some serious deep knowledge. I'm really impressed by some of the deep cuts of lore that this guy goes into. He does things a little bit differently than some of the other channels. One of the things that he does is he's really into shorter content. It's not like minute long YouTube shorts content, but he does those 10, 12 minute long videos. But he will go in depth on those videos. And man, I got to be honest with you, his quality has increased dramatically. I think he's probably got a team helping him with his edits at this point. I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me. He is all over the place. He talks about Space Marines lore. He talks about Eldar lore. He talks about hell, man. Every now and then he still throws in a little bit of fantasy or AOS lore in there, and I'll laugh about the old world as well. And he is consistent as heck. As a matter of fact, he's probably the most consistent and most regular uploader of anyone on this list. So he's got a mad amount of respect for me. And if you are ever in the mood for someone who's commissioning a lot of hentai and cosplay in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, guys, Major Kill is your boy. So he's here for you. He's all about it. One other thing that Major Kill really does is he actually talks about fitness, and I really like that because honestly, as much as I love Warhammer and I love all my nerds out there, I'm worried about some people because you go to tournaments and sometimes you worry about some of the people, some of the shape that they're in. Some people just aren't healthy. So I love the fact that we've got other people in this space that are promoting health and fitness as well. So as far as lore YouTubers go, Major Kill starts out with the hilarious buff for me, and he's starting right in the A tier. So we're coming out swinging right hot. I love Major Kill. I understand completely he's not everything for everyone. No problems with that at all. But he is definitely up there. He's also even put out some like random painting tutorials for some guy from the perspective of someone who's actually not that great at painting. So that's really cool that he's just kind of brushing out all over the place. So big on fan. Yeah. Cool. I Lost Lane coming in with the congrats on 4,000 subs. Thank you, I Lost Lane. I really appreciate it, man. It was really awesome. It was super exciting, and I gotta say I really appreciate all of your support. We've actually got some guys that I see here in the chat right now. Looking at you, Master Effect, and some other dudes. You guys are huge supporters of me, and I just want to give a shout out to all you guys. You guys are freaking rock. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the next guy on the list. So this guy. You know what? I'm going to skip that one because I don't want to talk about him yet. I love him, but I don't want to talk about him yet. Let's take it a little bit more serious now. So this next guy who we're going to talk about today is a little bit different than Major Kill. He doesn't have the exact same style, and that's okay. You don't have to have the exact same style because different kicks for different folks, different floats. So let's talk about Lutein09. Lutein09 is actually a pretty darn solid YouTuber. He actually has a huge catalog, and if you look at his stuff, oh my gosh, this guy will give you the in-depth deep dives that you're looking for. He does some things that I was not expecting when I first was looking for the lore. He's not necessarily my cup of tea because I don't really like these really big deep dives. And he definitely contrasts Mr. Major Kill quite a bit because he doesn't really do the hilarity on there. But I do like Lutein, and a lot of my people who I talk to really just want to sit down, put some long format stuff on there, long format content on there, and they just want to learn about 40K. And I think Lutein does a great, fantastic freaking job of that. So I'm going to throw Lutein right up there in B. The reason why he's in B isn't because he's bad. He's actually very good. A lot of respect for him. There's nothing about him that really stands out for me. That's why he's down there. Now I'm going to talk about another long format content, actually a much longer format content creator, who I'm going to put there right next to Mr. Major Kill. This is going to be the Wolf Lord Rho. Wolf Lord Rho is actually a really interesting content creator. If you guys haven't checked him out, I think I've got everyone linked in the description below, so you guys can always just click on them to their channels because all these guys have a lot to offer you. So Wolf Lord Rho does things a little bit different. One of the things that he really does is he super enjoys giving his opinion on lore. So for example, he'll do all these types of videos out there where he's making predictions about what will or what should happen. He just recently put out one on versus Gulliman and the Lion, which one should be leading the Leviathan Crusade. And I think this is actually a really cool perspective because he's not just reading the lore to you, he's actually engaging with it on a personal level, and that really sinks to me. And when I'm looking for that more longer format content that's coming out, so say maybe I'm just painting or I'm putting my models together and I just want to maybe deep dive into something, I love Wolf Lord Rho. He's my dude. So he is one of my go-tos for the long content, for the long format content. So I'm putting him right up next to Major Kill in the A tier. Not because they're the same, because they're actually very, very different, but I value them both pretty equally. And that doesn't mean that I'm not valuing Lutein, by the way. It's just for me personally, Lutein doesn't quite make the cut, but he's still a good creator. Okay, so someone had told me that they wanted to riot on me if I didn't include David Attenborough. All right, now David Attenborough, there's a lot about him, but Scholar's Lore is the AI generated channel that I think he was running, which is got us a strike not too long ago. And you know what? That was nonsense. I'm actually really, really shocked. I thought GW was over these content strikes. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that channel up there. I'm a pretty big fan of that Scholar's Lore channel. Once again, not necessarily my cup of tea though. I'm gonna drop that AI down into B tier. Not because it's bad. It's totally good. The voices just don't really do work for me. And by the way, guys, if you're watching this, thanks for hanging out. And today's video is sponsored by non-alcoholic beer. Because I live in Norway, and actual beer is so expensive, you have to sell your kidney every time you want one. So we'll go non-alcoholic today. All right. By the way, if you guys are disagreeing with me and you don't like what I have to say here, that's fine. You're wrong, but I still love you. I'm just kidding. Go and type it down in the comments. Let me know if I'm missing anyone really critical. Type some things down. Oh, we got a super chat coming in from Mass Brofect. No problem at all, brother. I'm happy to support content I love. You've also helped my game immensely, even if I'm on a terrible losing streak currently. Listen, my man, you are a freaking legend. I super appreciate you. Super appreciate the super chat. You are going to be smashing people, okay? We are totally working on it, and we're gonna get you right, and you are gonna be crushing some nerds in the 41st millennia. Just keep working, keep plugging away. We'll have you there. And by the way, I will 100% take your offer for the beer. Appreciate you. Love you immensely. Okay, so we have the Scholar's Lore down now. Let's go ahead and move on to the next side. If you guys don't know about the donut, let me tell you about the donut, because the donut is amazing. Now, the donut might be my personal favorite on this list, but I'm going to have to drop him a little bit lower than the other guys. If you guys don't know who the donut is Pancreas No Work. Pancreas No Work is some dude who just loves making jokes about how awful it is to have diabetes because he's diabetic. And I got to be honest with you, man. I probably laugh harder at Pancreas No Work than I do even at Major Kill. This guy is freaking awesome. If you guys didn't listen to his video about why Nagash is a dick, you have got to go check out why Nagash is a huge dick. It is just absolutely hilarious. The reason why I'm putting Pancreas No Work down at the C tier isn't because he sucks. He doesn't. He's actually fantastic. I love his content. It's immensely high value. I think he does all of his own edits himself. It's a super high quality channel. It's just simply that he does a ton of he does like half of his content is at least going to be Total War. Half of his content is not half Total War, but there's a ton of Total War content. There's a ton of Age of Sigmar content. There's a ton of Fantasies content. And it's not that I just like that. I actually love all of that stuff. It's freaking awesome. He just doesn't do 40K as much as other people. Now his 40K things are freaking great. If you haven't listened to his explanation for why Space Wolf puppies are awful, you need to go check it out. So I have a big shout out to Pancreas No Work. Even though you're lower on the tier for 40K specifically, you still are near and dear to my heart, and you might be my favorite guy on this entire list. Let me check out. So Tobias Helms, he's saying that missing Auspex tactics on this list. He's a niche competitive content, although he's got like 250,000 subs. Now, Tobias, thanks for the comment, my man. But Mass Brofect has absolutely answered you correctly. Auspex isn't lore. I will be doing another tier list on our tactical content creators, and you better believe Auspex will be on there. There's a lot of people who have some negative things to say about Auspex. I've got a lot of positive things to say about him, and I got to be honest with you, that dude's work ethic is unparalleled. I have an immense amount of respect for him. But yeah, so that's just a different tier list. Today we're only talking about lore, but I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. And yeah, Sindri, got to be honest with you. I know. It's a huge surprise. No one thought Nagash was a dick until I just said it, but it is what it is. Guy was a big doucher. Okay. So let's talk about this next one. This next one is pretty darn interesting. I'm gonna put him right there in the C tier with Pancreas No Work. And not because it's bad by any means. Once again, it's quite good. It does lose quite a bit of the funny aspects of things. But it's still quite solid work. This is going to be a Vox in the Void. So if you know a Vox in the Void, they do some really different style things on their channel. And a Vox in the Void is it's just different, man. And it's not bad at all. It's just one of the things that they tend to do is they'll go through a lot of your unofficial 40K stories. So some fan fiction, some non-fan fiction, but stuff that just wasn't officially cleared by 40K. They'll go through a lot of those unofficial 40K stories. And one of the things that they do is they tend to just read the books to you with some animated voices. And trust me, I love a good audiobook. Big old fan. But a lot of times I can just listen to an audiobook if I need an audiobook. This is not taken away from the guy's content or the gal's content. I don't know if I think it's a guy because it doesn't sound like an AI generated voice. It's not taken away from his work. It's just not for me because he basically just kind of reads these stories to you. And he does use a good animated voice, and I do listen to it. But that's why he's going down into the C tier. Has nothing to do with my personal love of him or anything like that. I'm sure they're wonderful. I'm not saying that they do bad work, but a little bit lower into the list. Let's get on to someone who is going to take a different level. Do I put him in the S tier? Do I put him in the D tier? Who knows? As a matter of fact, I think what I got to do is I got to create a new tier list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the hair list. It's the pure hair list, the most hair metal guy around. This is Wes Hammer. Now, don't be fooled. Hair is not necessarily has to be above A. I just don't know how to order it. So Wes Hammer has the craziest hair in the business. And I'm here for it, guys. I freaking love it. This guy's got some exceptionally cool stuff out there. One of the big things that I love about Wes Hammer that kind of sets him aside from some of the other guys is his horror series. He does a lot of those horror anthologies, and that is really, really awesome. What was the one that he did? I think it was The Watcher in the Rain. Oh, man, the way he animated the voices behind it and he builds the suspense on it, I think he just does a freaking awesome job of it. He does a really good job breaking down some obscure things that you don't really tend to think about. Like, I know he has an entire 40-minute deep dive into just the Necron weaponry and how awful it is and how grimdark just the weaponry itself is, which is something I haven't seen some other people do. So I'm a big fan of Wes Hammer. I think Wes Hammer is great. And he does get his own official category. He's not A, he's not B, he's not C, he's not D. He is just pure, wild, unfiltered, rock on out hair. And that is who he is. And yeah, Wes, he absolutely plays the algorithm well. So if you guys are looking to build a channel, you should definitely check out some of Wes's stuff because I think that dude can teach you how to build a channel. Yeah, he blew up like crazy. And yes, I am jealous of the hair and the way that he blew up. So, but I think I can still take him in an actual game. And and that was actually really cool. I don't know if you guys saw this. Maybe I can find it and drop it in the link for you. But I know that Major Kill and Wes actually came out and they did a collaboration where they had a knowledge off. And who was it? Man, it was one of the other guys on this list. I just forgot who it was, but he was quizzing them to see who was the official master of Loremaster. And I'm pretty sure Wes edged out Major Kill just by a wee bit. But yeah, so hair tier right there. Let's move on. Next guy is someone who does things that are really interesting to me, and I might be adopting a little bit of his style. So let's talk about the Sandman of Terra. Now, the Sandman of Terra is going to go solidly in the B tier, and here's why. I actually think he does one of the better jobs of actually portraying the lore. He tends to bring on a lot of people who are he brings on a ton of like guests to have discussions about the lore with, and I really enjoy that. It's really engaging, and it gives you other people's perspective while you're getting his perspective, while you're getting source material all at the same time. And I think you learn a ton from it. He also does some really cool things that he only did in 9th edition. He hasn't started as far as 10th edition is, but he did these gotcha guides in 9th edition. And these gotcha guides were actually really useful if you were trying like a quick fix to figure out how do you play against a certain enemy's army. Or how do you, like, oh, I have a game against sisters and they're played against them. What do I expect? Well, when he would drop these gotcha guides, they were actually super value, and I really like the style of them. And I think I'm going to go ahead and build a series of those for 10th edition, because I don't see him doing it for 10th edition. And it's not to steal it from him. It's just, I don't think he's doing it, and I really appreciate that he did it in 9th edition, though. So it's quite a good content idea. So mad respect for him, and I'm 100% going to steal that from him, but I will give him credit for the ideas. Now, the reason why he's in B tier, not say like A tier or C tier, is this guy is not the most consistent uploader. And sometimes you can go weeks. I think I've gone months before seeing an upload on him. And that's just why he drops in B. It doesn't mean he's bad at all. He's actually quite good. He 100% deserves your support. But he's not necessarily the most consistent poster, although he has been quite good as of late. So he's dropping solidly in the B tier with some other fantastic company. Okay, so someone has to take it. someone has to take the bottom spot here. And there are going to be some people who are very upset with me about this. There's going to be some people who 100% agree with me, okay? So this guy is, all right, Oculus Imperialis. Oculus Imperialis goes into the D tier. This is not because Oculus Imperialis is bad. Oculus Imperialis actually, as a matter of fact, might have the most accurate and the most specific lore in the entire YouTube verse. Like this guy might actually have the single best amount of material. The problem is I cannot listen to him without falling asleep. It is so exhausting just listening to him. And I feel terrible about it, but I can't make it through a video because of the voice. Some people would love it. Honestly, if you guys are looking for like Warhammer ASMR, he would be the freaking channel and you would love it and you're going to get a lot of value of the content. Definitely go check them out. Give them a subscription. But just for me, I just can't listen to it without falling asleep on the couch. And my wife already gets mad at me because the second I start watching TV, I immediately fall asleep on the couch anyway. So I don't need more help going to bed way too early because I'm already someone who likes to go to bed at like 9 o'clock at night because I'm an infant. So he's gonna take the bottom tier. It is what it is. I love you, Vox in the Void. No harm intended. It's just for me, for my list, you're going down there. All right. Chapter Master himself. Now, if you guys know about Chapter Master himself, this guy is pretty freaking great. Chapter Master Valrak is very different than a lot of the other guys on here. He does these long live streams. He doesn't do a lot of the pre-recorded videos. I know he definitely does some of them, but he does a lot of his stuff in live action. And he has a ton of interaction with his audience while he's doing it, which is really, really cool. Which, by the way, just as a side, all you guys who are in the chat right now, I love your interaction, and I super, super appreciate you. If you're enjoying this, if you wouldn't mind just dropping a thumbs up on the video right now, that would be actually really, really cool. So thank you for your interaction. You guys are freaking awesome. So Valrak does a bunch of these really interesting tangents where he'll grab on like a little tiny piece of lore and he'll go conspiracy. I know he's got the tinfoil hat Fridays where he goes through all the conspiracy that's coming up, and I am 100% here for it. I really enjoyed his videos where he was talking about when he was doing the original reveals for the King in Yellow. For those of you guys who don't know, the King in Yellow is like my favorite storyline of all 40K. Sindri says I need to send Valrak to the hair tier. You know, he has a tinfoil hat. Does that count hair? Does that count as the hair tier though? What do you guys think? If you guys think that Valrak needs to go in the hair tier because of his tinfoil hat, give me like type 10 in the chat and we can make that happen. But so he has a lot of these really, really cool elaborations on things. But another thing that he does a lot is he breaks news. So he talks a lot about the news. I know he just posted one today even that was talking about how there's potentially some problems going with the Amazon TV series starring Henry Cavill. I really hope that's not true because that is nonsense. That there needs to be no problems there because I am 100% excited about that. I need that to be happening. So I love Valrak. I think he's great. He's going to be hanging out right in the middle for me. With everyone else, and that is pretty dang solid. Now, I did get a double here, so I need to do. I forgot to add someone in here, so I need to go ahead and drop them in. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Oh no. Okay. Now, this next icon is not going to be correct because I didn't. Here, I can just download it real fast. Just give me 2 seconds. What was the name for? And there's a new group of guys on hanging out on the YouTube verse, and I actually really like them. Their names is Sander and Kota, and if you guys don't know them, it's probably because they're brand freaking new. These guys had a really, really interesting rise. So these dudes actually went from straight up no one. They were having 800 views on a video, 800 views on a video for their first 8 videos, and on their first 8 videos, they were talking about a bunch of interesting things. They were talking about Andrew Tate. They were talking about Alex Jones. They were talking about the mainstream media. And then on their 9th video, they did a deep dive into the Primarchs, just kind of out of nowhere. And they were getting 800 to 1,000 views on every video. And then on their 9th video upload, which was the Primarchs, they got like 170,000 views because people freaking loved. People absolutely loved it. And so Sander and Kota actually just started blowing up. And they have a pretty cool little dynamic. They're 2 younger guys. Go give them a check out. These dudes are straight up. It's two friends. They're hanging out in front of a camera, so they get the camera view, and they're actually just discussing a subject. So, for example, the Grey Knights, and they're talking about it, and they'll end up talking about some things that are a little off topic. They're getting back into it. It's more of like a podcast where you have two friends just hanging out while they're discussing the Grey Knights. And I'm here for it, man. It's a little bit lighthearted. It's nice. I think they do a pretty good work, and because of that, they're going to drop right into that B tier with the other guys. So I'm going to pop them back up into that B tier. Now I'm reading the chat here, and my dude is not enjoying the fact that I haven't brought up Baltimore. And I'll tell you why I haven't brought up Baltimore. Everyone can hate me for this, and I understand. I haven't listened to Baltimore. I just haven't done it. There's no other reason for it. The dude's voice is amazing. Sends shivers down my spines. Makes me all excited for life. But you know what? I just haven't listened to him. I don't have a great opinion of Baltimore. If you guys had to rate Baltimore, where would you put him right now? Is it possible? Like, how can I make a poll on that? Here, I'm gonna start a poll. Let's start a poll. Is Baltimore A tier or not? So here's the poll. I put it in the chat. If you love them, give us a yes. If you don't love them, give us a no. Because Mass Brofex saying that Baltimore's almost as funny as Major Kill. No. He's saying there's a very small chance that Mr. Bones 40K is almost as funny as Major Kill. Mr. Bones 40K. Let's give a shout out to that. I don't know who it is, so I don't have much to speak about as far as Mr. Bones 40K is concerned. If you guys know Mr. Bones 40K, though, definitely type about it. And maybe someone can drop the link to Mr. Bones' channel, Mass Bro, if you want to drop it into the chat, just so people can find them. I love giving shout outs to everyone who's supporting the 40K universe. I just don't know it that much. But yeah, guys, so this is my ranking of the guys who I'm listening to. Like I said, Baltimore is awesome. I know there's a lot of great things. I'm not ranking them just because, sorry, I just don't listen to them. But this is where I'm rocking these guys. Let me share a few pieces of my favorite parts of the lore. My favorite part of the lore. My favorite lore in all of Warhammer 40,000. As you can guess, it probably has something to do with the orcs. And it's a story. And it's a beautiful, beautiful story. I believe it was taking place on Armageddon, where a unit of boys was charging guardsmen, and the guardsmen who had been fighting for days and sweltering and the bleeding, and they were starving and they were dehydrated. They had nothing left. Their last cell clips were completely empty. They had nothing to fight the orcs with. And when the orcs let out their blood-curdling cry and charged these poor Imperial guardsmen, those guardsmen stood up and started screaming, bang, 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 and then all the orcs got a bunch of holes in their chests and died. And that, Grots and Gits, is my favorite piece of 40K lore in existence. Basically, if it's about the orcs, you know I love it. I also got to think that my thing I'm most excited for, on a serious note, as far as the development of 40K is concerned, the most I'm excited for is the Soulbound coming out. When we're talking about Constantine Valdor coming on out, Constantine Valdor leading an army of blanks, warp-touched Blood Angels, and potentially even Thunder Warriors. Oh, the shivers down my spines. I cannot tell you how freaking excited I am about Constantine Valdor coming back to Smash. The dude is an enigma. He's a Primarch tier guy who's not even a Primarch. I freaking love him so darn much. So that's awesome. My personal thoughts is I think the release of the Soulbound is going to be coming along, is going to be one of the things that's heralding us into the 11th edition. I don't know about that. I'm not entirely positive about that. But that's my tinfoil hat. So, Mr. Valrak, if you ever catch up on this, you have a tinfoil hat. I have a tinfoil hat. Mine is that the Soulbound are coming back, and they're going to be rocking everything. For you guys, what I want to hear from everyone here is, what is your favorite piece of the lore in Warhammer 40K? I think I shared mine. So I'm all about that Valdor. I'm all about just orcs in general. Of course, orcs are freaking awesome. Oh yeah, and one last. Maybe I'll share that for another video. But this is my thoughts, guys. This is how I am ranking all these dudes. If you are one of these guys and then check this out, no hurt feelings, man. I think you're all freaking awesome. And I appreciate all the work you do. And I'd love to actually have a chat with any of you guys. One of the things that I'm looking to do is I'd really like to grab one of these guys on the channel. And I'd like to talk about some of the really awesome conversations around lore on the tabletop. Like, how can we actually get lore accurate reflections onto the tabletop? It's not entirely possible in all situations, but like, how could we make the tabletop game reflect lore a little bit more? I think that'd be a really cool conversation if any of these guys want to come on. And if you do, you can shoot me a message at happycrumpin@proton.me. I got my email linked below. Um, so yeah, we got a few guys in the chat. They're talking about how Devastation of Baal is a really good one. Sindri is saying that we need more Custodes and Valdor in 40k. Bro, I am 100% with you. Give me some more Eyes of the Emperor. Oh, speaking of which, when the Custodes Codex comes out for this edition, I need the Eyes of the Emperor. We need an infiltration unit. We need something different in the Custodes Codex to mix things up. So give us some like Eyes of the Emperor who can maybe come back and act as like an infiltration unit or some sort of thing like that. I think that'd be a really cool addition to the Custodes. But anyway, guys, this was my tier list for all of our lore masters on YouTube. I appreciate all of these guys. I know there's a few guys I missed. If you guys are reading the chat right now, there's a big shout out to Mr. Bones on YouTube. Apparently, he's a very small channel that's trying to grow, so go give him a little bit of love. So shout out to him. And for everyone else on the list here, I just wanted to, from my heart, thank all of you for the work that you do. You're putting out, you're spreading Warhammer, which is the thing I love, to the masses. And, big shout out. So I'm going to go and close off here. I appreciate all you guys hanging out in attendance. This was our tier list for the Lore Masters. And everybody, have an amazing freaking night. Big shout out to all the supporters. I love you all. If you guys are not in the Discord, make sure you drop in the Discord because we have a very, very robust competitive Discord. Now, a lot of the conversation has shifted to the members only area. It doesn't mean that we're abandoning the free area. We still talk on the free areas, but if people are initiating a lot of conversation on the members area, that's where we're having a lot more of our interactions right now. But never be afraid to at me on the Discord if you have questions or anything, because we always reach out to try to make everyone a better player, Warhammer 40,000. And we also like to share a lot of our models. We've got a printing tutorial section in the members section of the Discord.